ready for this.
From the stadium and light to Ellen Road we stand. Red and white meets a Yorkshire band. North meets north with a rival twist. We clash, we joke, you get the gist. Bridging the gap, it's the weekly show. Sunderland Leeds, let the banter flow. Two clubs, two hearts, but we still chat. Laughing and shouting where the football's at. Only fools and SAFC. And imagine not being Leeds. That's way.
Now then, everyone, welcome back to Imagine Not Being Leeds, and welcome back to Bridging the Gap with my good mate Wayne from Only Fools and SAFC. How the devil are you doing, pal?
Top of the morning. I'm top of the morning.
Top of the morning to you. Nice little terminology, considering I've just come back from Dublin. I heard that a couple of times that weekend.
I would have tried an Irish accent, but I would have failed miserably, so I've just left it there.
Are you poor with accents, mate? I'm really bad with them.
I'm shocking, mate. Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you.
I can just say potato. I don't think I'm good, to be fair. But I didn't say potato. I said Guinness quite a lot. Yeah, but I'm the Guinness in Dublin, mate.
Guinness.
What a weekend.
Heavy,
I know.
Heavy.
Very heavy for the heavy man.
Well, you said it. I'm not down there.
So, first and foremost, before we get into it, mate, I just want to congratulate you. I seen today you announced you've been selected for the top 11 in the Sunderland category for the Finalysis. I didn't think I say it right then. Finalysis. Honestly, it's a struggle saying it. As you know, Wayne, I went for one of the auditions as well for Leeds, got through the first part, didn't make the grade, but I'm very happy that you're presenting on behalf of Sunderland, all of your content. And I think it's just credit to you as a man, as a Sunderland fan. Your passion is unmatched and unrivaled for me, mate. So, yeah, how are you feeling about that, mate? And just trying to give everyone a little brief introduction of what it is so they can...
I really appreciate that, mate. Thank you very much. So, you probably, I don't know, you might see it on socials today. It's been launched this morning at 11 o'clock, where it's just kind of, it's a new place, a new concept that Michael McIntyre has come up with. He's gone in partnership with Sky. Gary Neville's involved in kind of a big project where they're going to be like a new kind of centre, a hub for all football fans to kind of be, where you can go on there and you do your match ratings, your player reviews, and it's kind of like an app for the fans, made by the fans type of thing. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, when I submit match reviews and player ratings straight after the games, it's going to be used in the Sky games straight after the game. So rather than the pundits kind of,
it's exciting.
Pundits kind of what they're saying, it's going to be more a fan-based thing. So it's exciting. It looks good. I mean, it's a big project. If it takes off, I mean, it's going mad today on the socials when it's been launched. Absolutely buzzing. I'm absolutely over the moon that I've getting in. I didn't think I would. There'll have been a lot of Sunderland fans after that. So, I'm buzzing. Just shows like hard work does pay off, I'm guessing.
No, I know, mate, and I know you weren't too sure you'd met the grade, but I'm so chuffed you have, mate. You came to Leeds, didn't you, to the Queen's Hotel for your audition and all that, and you weren't too sure about the concept, about whether you wanted to do it or not, or whether you'd even get the opportunity. So I'm just glad. Just wanted to touch on that and just congratulate you in person, mate.
Thanks. Really appreciate that, mate. Thank you very much.
No, that's sound, mate. I just want to quickly shout out as well my mate Aina. How you doing, mate? He's messaged me tonight on X, just letting me know that he's had his 2.5-year appointment checkup to check he's cancer free and there's no cancer come back. And he's just sent me a message there saying that he's gone for the checkup and there's nothing there. So Great news on that. So I just want to shout you out, Aina, for messaging me and letting me know. Top guy, watches every stream. So great news, that, mate. I'm glad you're in a good place. So yeah, I want to shout that one out.
Great news.
Jamie Howdell. I will see what Arsenal got me a away ticket for Arsenal a week on Saturday, Wayne. Come on, Arsenal away. No, a full day on coach.
Happy days.
I've had to do so many chores in the house for the last month. Just in preparation in case I were able to go. But yeah, Jamie, I can't wait for it, buddy. But yeah, absolutely brilliant. But obviously we spoke last week on your channel. We've been ticking it. Things have been sort of ticking away nicely in the transfer market. At your end, 100%. Yeah, I do think we've done okay. It's sort of dried up. I think it was 12, 13 days now since we signed Perry, the goalkeeper. Things aren't as rosy as they were maybe a week or two ago on the lead side of things. And all we keep doing is, swipe right. And next thing, Sunderland signed another player. I don't know if that irritates a few of our fans as we've gone over and over again. I can't wait for games to start, Wayne, so we can just start talking about football rather than the transfer business. But you've done really well with transfers. We spoke about it already. The defence has been a problem. And yesterday you go sign what looks to be a really decent like caliber of signing? Do you want to just let us
Aye.
know a bit about him, buddy?
I'm buzzing with this one. So we've signed Omar Alderete from Getafe, 10 million quid, 28-year-old. He's a left-sided centre half. What we've been lacking. Looks a big, strong unit. He was voted in the team of the season in La Liga last year.
Really?
Got loads of experience. He's played in the Bundesliga, in various places, and everywhere he's been, he's kind of been named. I think he played for Basel. I think he got named in the Swiss team of the league as well when he went there as well. So got good pedigree. So he looks a big unit. He's a left-sided, left-footed, which kind of compensates. You always need that left defender in there as well. It makes it a lot easier. So I think he's going to be a key signing. Just what we've been lacking. I was getting a bit worried around his defensive situation, but to get this one done before the weekend, I don't think he's going to play the weekend. He's only played 45 minutes of pre-season, so he's not ready for the weekend. But he's cracking signing with good pedigree and looks the part.
Is this probably the long-term replacement of like a Luke 09 then? I see at centre half. You think Ballard will play out right, will he? And this new guy will play out left? Is that what it'll be?
I think that's the way we'll probably head up. I think Luke 09, like I say, when even Jensen Seatlem's going to be ahead of him now. So I think that's going to be our centre half partnerships moving forward, unless we get another one in, of course. With the still talk of still being linked with that Lukumi and Bardia, but they're going to be quiet. So I'm guessing that's going to be our defensive kind of partnership. Ryan can play centre half as well, which he's played there in pre-season. So I think that's the way. When everybody's fit, that will be the way we go.
So you'll be happy with that defence. In terms of quality of depth, have you got enough there, do you think, if that's what they went with? I know as a starting four, it probably looks all right now compared to what it did look like. But would you be happy with the depth of it, or is there still a couple of defenders needed, do you think?
I think we're still a bit weak.
Yeah.
We played Vallecano on Saturday and got battered. In the defence we had young lads playing. We had Niall Huggins playing, who still looks miles off being first team ready. Come back from a bad injury. Wolfsburg have bid 10 million quid for Trey Hume yesterday.
Not enough, surely. Not enough.
But I wouldn't have thought so. He doesn't want to leave. So I think that's a non-starter. But there's rumours of a 10 million bid. But I still do think left hand side. We've got certain Ryan Aildo just signed Masuaku as well for ex-West Ham player. So I think on the left hand side we've got plenty of cover. It's that right hand side that worries me a little bit. And our Huggins can play there, but I just think if we get injury to Trey Hume, we're going to struggle a bit. And our Sadiki can fill in there if need be, but I'd rather not have him there.
Did you see Leeds' game at the weekend?
I didn't know. I didn't see it. I seen the highlights, but I didn't see the full game. I seen bits and pieces of it, but good result.
Yeah, good. I mean, I touched on it a lot about the results in pre-season. Some people say they don't matter. Maybe they don't, but we've now gone unbeaten this pre-season. 3 draws, 2 wins. The 3 draws against decent opposition kind of suggests, as we've sort of said, Leeds look hard to beat. Bit of a meltdown by sections of the fan base that we're struggling up top for that bit of quality. Which I'm not too sure I fully agree with, although I can see the point, and we have got holes. We definitely need a left winger, we definitely need a striker, and we need full-back cover. Whether they need to be... There's a bit of a rhetoric in Leeds fan base at the minute, which is what my little rant was about earlier, that if Leeds don't sign a £35 million plus winger and striker, then we will go down. And I'm not sure that's... All of a sudden, that's come out of nowhere this last week or so. It's just, missing out on Pajau a few weeks ago didn't help. There's El Canu sat there with a £25 million release clause. Fans are losing their head. Why haven't we just triggered it? We don't know what's going on in the background. We are trying to target. Go on, mate.
Newcastle are after him now. Apparently, they've been linked with him.
It will be another one that we won't get. I can just see it. I've never really fancied Leeds to actually get that deal done. And I suppose it's a little bit annoying from our point of view in the terms of it's, you can trigger that and then it's up to the player. But who's to say we've not had a conversation with a player already and it's been pointless triggering it because he's waiting on other stuff, just like Muniz. Muniz wants Atlanta now. We don't want Leeds. Fulham want €50 million for Muniz. If I'm honest, as much as Leeds fans are saying is the answer, 50 million quid for Muniz, for someone who hasn't done it, for long really in Premier League, done it a little bit in Premier League, a little bit hit and miss. His numbers looked okay last year, but it's a lot of money and that's because I found out today, they've got a 20% sell-on clause to the Brazilian side. So, if they sell 50, they only get 40. and then who can Fulham realistically buy that's maybe better than Muniz for 40 million? Because you could say it's not really, in it. You know, when you look at the good nines out there, what I would say is looking at who you're still linked with is from your point of view, very excited. I seen your video earlier, and is it Openda from Leipzig?
That on our local radio station last night, they put a bit on there to say they've had some news that we're going to there's a significant signing going to happen before the weekend. It's going to be a striker, and that striker could lead the line on Saturday against West Ham. So, of course, social media last night, you know, you're searching, you're scrolling, loads of rumours. There was Moise Keane was linked, obviously Calvert-Lewin, Vardy, Lewis Openda, who would be an absolute statement signing, by the way, if that was to happen. However, tonight on the same show, it's all been a load of rubbish. Apparently, Nick Barnes, our local reporter, has spoken to somebody at the club, and they've said that we are not actively pursuing a striker, which kind of is a bit of a kick in the knackers, because that's, for me, is still one area where we need some proven experience. And
does that feel really credible, that as well, hearing it from this person? Is that really credible to you?
So Nick Barnes is the Sunderland reporter. He does the commentary from BBC Radio Newcastle. He's well connected in the club. I mean, it could be wrong. I mean, the club might want to keep things close to the chest, but apparently there was a flight meant to have been booked from Italy yesterday that was cancelled late on. Now, you know, people are putting two and two together and thinking that was going to be a signing, but I don't think so. I don't think it's going to happen now. I think we're probably gone in with Mienda, Isidore, and QE, which QE's an unknown. You know, he's going to come here with a point to prove. Is he going to get you the goals? Well, you didn't know. He's one of these who, until he gets regular game time, will not know how good he is.
I mean, looking at your front line, we've got Mienda, Isidore. Is that
QE, the one from Chelsea on loan?
Did he play at the weekend?
He's not fit. He's not.
Right.
He's had extra time off, so he's only going to be fit enough for the bench at the weekend. So we'll be starting with probably Mienda on Saturday. Who do
you think is your number 9 going into the season out of those three?
Well, Mienda's played every pre-season game, but that's just partly because Isidore's had an injury. I think when everybody's fit, I think QE will probably be our main centre forward. Because I don't know whether you heard, but apparently there was a hold up in the deal with QE, and that was because Chelsea wanted a clause in that he played so many games, which I'm not a fan of. I think we spoke about this on my show last week, that, you know, you shouldn't be guaranteed game time. If you're not in form, you shouldn't be playing. You know, if other players should be given a chance. So we'll have to wait, and I don't know what that clause is, but based on that, I think he'll be our main man.
Yeah, there's always those sort of clauses put in when it comes to loan players from big clubs to, you know, clubs at the top end of the Premier League. You know, they always want to sort of protect the player, don't they? But it doesn't really protect our club. You know, if he ain't pulling his weight, you know, he shouldn't be starting. And I mean, looking at your side, I'm a massive Isidore fan, but I know from your perspective, he hasn't really been cutting the mustard for a while now. But I think physically, he's got all the attributes to be a top striker. I think even a Premier League level striker, but I suppose he's young. He's a little bit raw, and he has been out of form. So yeah, when I look at that front line for you, it's a very young front line, and you know, the weight of that shirt, mate, I say it at Leeds all the time, the weight of the shirt, the badge at your place is heavy. You know, 50,000 fans plus in Stadium of Light. If you go on a bit of a goal drought, it's a tough one. So I would be surprised if he didn't bring in another striker. Is 3 enough? Potentially, but when they're all young strikers, I'm not too sure. I would be surprised if he didn't bring in another fourth option, mate, to be honest.
I'll be disappointed if they didn't get one. I really will, but I just don't know. We've been searching for a striker now for about 4 or 5 seasons and still never getting a proven one. So I'm not holding my breath. You know, Isidore, like you say, has got the attributes to be a top striker, but he's a confident striker. And like you say, if he has a bad start, then, you know, if he can hit the ground running, he might have a good season. But I don't know. I've got me reservations. I think he might be all right, but depends how he plays. It all depends on the service he gets. Yeah,
of course it does. Comment here by Lewis. No offence, but Louis Openda would never. To be fair, Wayne was just as shocked anyway to see the link. And as a Leeds fan, I'm hoping he doesn't, because obviously he's a top player with some great stats. But I mean,
it only came about because on Saturday, while we were playing in Germany, that our new director of football, Gilofsky, was at the RB Leipzig game speaking with their representatives. So Peter's putting 2 and 2 together. And I think that's who we're going to sign. But like I say, 60 million. I mean, for that sort of money, they'd be top half Premiership teams looking at them.
Yeah, no, I know. It's been a bit of a weird transfer window though, because I think we've both done some really good business. You've got more numbers in than us, but I think we've really strengthened like one main area, midfield. I know you're really happy with midfield. As a club, we're really happy with our midfield and our sort of centre half pairings. I think down the middle of the pitch, at the back especially, it's really strong. Obviously, we're missing those flair players up top potentially. If I'm being critical of where we still need to go, full back covers needed, but the midfield has been somewhere we've both seen. That's where we need to focus on. We've seen sides come up, play a similar style to what they played in Championship, be a bit naive to the physicality of the Premier League, and we've sort of adapted with that. We've focused heavily on those attributes in the window, haven't we? And I know you're really pleased with your midfield. How did Xhaka look with Siddiqui and Diarra this weekend? Because you won, didn't you, away at Osberg, was it? 1-0.
No,
Second winner pre-season?
And we beat South Shields, but that was a nothing.
This is your first proper win then, isn't it?
First proper win, And
did it look all right?
To be fair, that midfield three look really, really good and really, really strong. Xhaka is head and shoulders above anything in our side. He's just calm, got the experience, got the physicality as well. He's a leader. But the energy around him of Siddiqui and Diarra kind of compensate that a bit. The only worry for me is Siddiqui picked up an injury at the weekend, which I'm not too sure how bad it is. So we'll have to wait and see. But I think, there's rumours now. There's been rumours flying around this week that Lefear's spat his dummy out that he's not been getting game time. But yeah, I think that from what I can gather, it's just his agent been making noises. Apparently, his agent's a bit of a knob. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter who you are, you've got to fight for your place, and because you're not playing, you can't be spitting your dummy out. If that's what you're going to do, then you're not the fit anywhere for our club. If you're not willing to knuckle down and fight for your place just because you're not playing, then I'd question you. That really would.
Is there an argument that he isn't a starter now?
Well, I don't think he will be. I think that
formation's changed.
That midfield three, I think it'll be Xhaka, Diarra, and Siddiqui in midfield with Talbi and Adingra on the wings. I think that's the way we'll line up.
Yeah, and like you say, you've seen him out on left. You didn't really fancy him out there. You don't need to now with signing. Is it Adingra who plays on left and Talbi on right?
Adingra on left, Talbi on the right.
Did they look decent at the weekend because they haven't set the world alight, have they? Or...
No, I think Talbi's still young. I think he's still getting used to life in England. But he has got better with every game in pre-season. He's looking lively. He's got a couple of assists. Adingra has looked good, but again, it's just that final ball. These young players, is now when to release it and when to pass it, when to cross it, when to get a shot away, and he still needs to work on that a little bit. So, by no means are the final product, but there's some good signs there. But I didn't know if we're ready at the level it might take us 5, 6, 7, 8 games to get into our stride, which at this level you can't really afford to do.
Yeah, I've got your fixtures to have a look at. We'll have a look in a bit. I think if you are struggling after the first 5, 6, 7, then you probably are in trouble just based on after those 5, 6, 7, you're probably going to have some big hitters because you've got a very favourable start, which I think's been massively important for you for those first, 3 games before international break to bring in as many players as you can and get, because those first three games, there's potential for you to get a couple of wins in them. Looking at them, or maybe a win and a draw, and it's a decent start then before you get to tougher fixtures down the road. But let me just bring this one. So, hey up, Matty, mate, just smash the like for you, bro. Cheers. Philip, there's 79 currently in. I'm on 35 likes. Come on, guys, smash the likes for me and win, please. Lee Jones, I'm really trusting the 49ers. And if it fucks up, I'm a happy clapper, and I will get my cap with written for the Newcastle game. Hey up, James, hope you well. Comment up here from it earlier that Tim the Minion did. So I actually have done a predictions video a while back, like an early predictions when there were no to talk about after the season. So neither of you have done a prediction video yet. Will you both be doing a 1 to 20 final Prem table? Well, funny you should say that. Funny you should say that.
It was rehearsed.
Yeah, I like it when rehearsed. Nice comment, that, Tim. So yeah, I'm thinking we'll bring them on now and we'll let the comments build up. So I messaged Wayne literally about an hour and a half ago and says, can you do us a bit of a prediction table for where you think the season will go and where we'll end up based on, that first game coming up, and transfer window's still not done. Obviously, still some teams I don't think done anything. I think Fulham's not brought anyone in yet. Still a few teams, and obviously yourselves to bring some players in. But the squad's starting to come together now. The confidence is either there or it's wavering. So I thought it'd be quite interesting to do it. So I'm going to bring up mine first, Wayne, which you haven't seen yet. So this is my predicted table. Nervous.
Put your tin hat on.
Right, so I don't have us or you going down.
Oh, that's good.
Right. So I have Liverpool to win title, Arsenal, Chelsea, City, Europa League. It's slightly different layout to yours, but Europa League, Newcastle, Spurs in 7th, and then mid-table, Brighton 8th, Fulham 9th, Palace 10th, 11th Bournemouth, 12th Forest. And then this pained me, I switched them around the end, but pains me because on my last one I said we'll finish above Scum. And I'm probably still going to say it, yeah. But I've put them 13th, us 14th, Everton 15th, West Ham 16th, you 17th, although I had you at 15th at one point. And then, yeah, but I do think Wolves, Brentford and Burnley are the ones that go down. I just cannot see for love nor money how they get enough points. The players have lost. The manager Brentford's got, I think it's pretty bleak for them. Although I don't think I've seen a predicted table, Wayne, that showed anyone else at 20th other than Burnley. I just can't see how it's anybody else.
That's it. I mean, everybody's writing them off. I mean, you know, you say you never know. I mean, they finished 20 points above us last season, and now we've strengthened, but I didn't know.
It's a mad one because they were really strong in Championship, but I think where their main strength was defensively, they've lost so many big hitters from that. But they have, they have brought some decent players in other, positions. But like to lose 20 G&A from Brownhill going, and then the keeper's gone. I mean, between Brownhill and the keeper, they were probably 1 and 2 for their best players, and most offensive player, most defensive player, obviously. And yeah, to lose both of them, I don't see how they finish any higher than 20th. But rather than pull yours, I'm going to pull yours up alongside mine, and we'll have a look how that stack up against each other. So there's Wayne's. Wayne's got Sunderland above Leeds. Oof, the cheek of him. The cheek of him on a Leeds fucking fan channel. The cheek.
You know what? You know me. I've had Leeds above us all the way through.
I thought it might change. Yeah, you have.
Just because I think we have now just sneaked the transfer window.
Yeah.
Now there's still a week to go. Could change. I just think we are now getting that centre half into there. It's changed my mind. I think the only thing we are lacking now is a proven centre forward. If we had I think we'll be all right. I don't want to get too confident, but
that's highest I've seen anyone put Sunderland. But I agree with what you're saying in terms of in the last couple of days, especially, there's been a bit of a little bit of a twist with a lot of Leeds fans where it's gone from being fairly confident to being like, oh my God, we're struggling now. And Sunderland to feel like you've got that momentum again with the last couple of signs you've had. So it doesn't surprise me that you are confident enough to say you'll finish above Leeds. It's not, I don't think it's even blind faith. I think there's probably something in that. It's pretty close.
And just looking at them at the bottom, the teams underneath us, I think West Ham will really struggle this season. They're going on about selling Paquetá. They've lost Kudos. They've lost some experience. I think so. Checking all them left as well. So I think they're really, really going to struggle. I think they signed Callum Wilson, and they're on a free transfer. I mean, dear me, if you're replacing Kudos with Callum Wilson, what does that tell you?
We'll give Callum Wilson 9 shirt, I think, as well. So it's like, you're banking on him.
It's Antonio's shirt, isn't it?
Yeah, so, you're banking on him being main man, but he's always injured.
Right. Bournemouth, I think they've lost lost all their back four, so they're going to struggle. We've already touched on Brentford. Wolves again lost some key players in key areas. Can they cope with that loss?
Yeah, we've got a hope, haven't we, that the predictions that a lot of people are making, the Brentford and Wolves will struggle, albeit a lot of the other, the media and stuff are saying they'll struggle, but they'll stay above the newly promoted sides. We have got to hope they are going to struggle as much as we think, because they're the two really that for us and you to stay up, or either of us to stay up, we have to really, they've got to be there. And we're banking on it, like you say. I mean, it's all right throwing Bournemouth and West Ham and other sides in that mix. I honestly couldn't envisage West Ham actually going down. Same with Bournemouth. No. But you look at them two and you think, yeah, I could imagine them two going down. They've been down not long ago, and I've never really looked at either of them club either, especially Brentford, and seen them as a Premier League club. Just like Bournemouth, there's a few in there, isn't there? And we're those huge clubs that we are. Not that matters in terms of you've got to cut it out the mustard on the pitch, haven't you? But it pains us with League One, Championship, watching teams like this in Premier.
And this is the frustrating thing: the size of both our clubs. It has been a frustrating time getting back up where we are, and I'm just now pleased that we'll give it a right go to try and stay there. But you're right. I mean, I think Brentford are going to really, really see how important Thomas Frank was to them. I think the job he's done there cannot be underestimated. He's done an absolutely fantastic job with them.
And I think you can see where we've both at Spurs as well. Spurs will go from being 17th to being right up there in the mix again now, having Thomas Frank as their manager. I think he's class. What do you reckon to this debacle anyway?
I think it's class to be fair.
He's literally come out today, hasn't he, and said he will not play for him at all, no matter what or something.
It's funny because I've just been watching Instagram there. There's fans burning his shirt and all sorts. It's just music there where he's a Sunderland fan. It's class.
It's got to that point now where it's desperation on his part to force a move, and there's always a chance that it don't quite materialise. And then what?
He's stuck, isn't he? He's stuck. When these things happen, you might have a free arm back, and he's determined he doesn't want to play for them anymore. But I mean, will he then end up going to Saudi Arabia if he doesn't get the Liverpool move?
Maybe. PSF. Matty, I don't believe you think Sunderland stay up. How do you reach that conclusion? Well, you know what it is? I had them at 15th, and I had them at 18th, and I had them at 17th. I think out of the fact that they've had a really good window and the fact that I want them to stay up is probably, I don't think putting them 17th. It's not like I put them 6th PSF. It's not a wild stake putting them 17th. I've always, some will say it's a little bit low, but I look at it and I do think Brentford and Wolves are banging trouble, and with Sunderland's momentum are coming up, and the feel-good factor around the city, which Wayne can vouch for. I'm sure they'll give it a good fist to it. Let's be fair, out of all the sides who are going to be struggling, Sunderland are the ones that have given it the biggest go. Your owner's the youngest owner probably to ever own a club in the history of how old's your owner?
He's 24, I think now. 24.
He's literally playing Football Manager at the minute.
Oh, he's
literally he's living his best life, and he sat there eating biscuits and drinking tea. Playing on his phone, just buying whatever he wants when he wants. He's got too much money. He don't know what to do with it.
Long may it continue. I said, Matty, though. I mean, for all though we've spent 150 million quid, doesn't guarantee you out. These players on the whole are all unknowns. I would say bar Xhaka, I hadn't heard any of them before we signed them.
Yeah.
Dingra, obviously, I'd heard of him, but I just think it's for all the money. It's still a risk. Will they adapt? Will they settle in? Are they good enough? Are they, like you were saying? Have we overpaid for players? Are they not worth anywhere near what we've paid for them? And just the price tag doesn't make you a good player. So it's still going to be a hard season, no doubt about it.
Yeah, it's hard because we go off of a lot of things as fans. You'll see stats, you'll see that you've got the eye test, you've got a lot of factors for you to, as a fan, to sort of gauge whether you think that's enough money or not. But ultimately, it comes down to the club. It's how valuable is that player to that team, and sometimes that might not match up with the numbers. But if they lose that player, like we were saying about Muniz earlier, if they lose that money, that player, they've got to make sure the funds they get is good enough to bring in, an adequate replacement, if not better that. So sometimes, it may not look like from a Leeds, but we're trying to pick holes at stuff, I guess. We're trying to feel better about ourselves, so we'll try and pick holes in your stuff. Mm-hmm. And we'll look at your deals and we'll say, Diarra, well, you're overpaying because Leeds were only going to pay X amount. Well, maybe we were underpaying, maybe somewhere in middles, maybe right as well. So it's been an interesting little battle. And like I said a few times, it's been nice for us to have this sort of show now, which will be a weekly show as we enter Premier League, and for it to sort of gear up that way, because as much as I want it to be light-hearted banter and stuff, I don't mind that little bit of feistiness what can sometimes come with it, and I can't wait for game weeks. But the transfer window's been a nice little starter for this channel, and hopefully, like I say, we have a nice little bit of rivalry as the season goes on. And obviously, ultimately, I do want you to do well, and I'd love you to stay up, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be very tough. It's going to be.
I mean, Bernie might go on and surprise us all and be the one that's the open we both can down. You just never know.
Imagine.
Everybody's writing them off. I mean, I had in the league table there, I started off Everton. I thought Everton might struggle, but they're getting Grealish today. What a signing that is. I think he'd be tremendous for them.
Yeah, I'm a bit torn with Grealish. I mean, if we'd signed him, I'd be buzzing, obviously. So it's like, I just don't think he's a player he was. But then again, he isn't playing at a team like City either. So, his drop down from where he was, he probably can get away with playing for Everton, considering last season before, they had Jack Harrison playing on left. They've upgraded, regardless of what we think of Grealish, they've upgraded. I think they paid a hell of a lot of money for loan. I think they're covering all his wages. And I think it's about 13 million quid for a year for a loan player. There may be a little bit of a fee on top. So it's a lot of money. But again, signings like that, they've signed Dewsbury Hall as well. They've gone, for me, from being probably going to be sucked into it to being well clear now, I think. Clear.
I think, I just think Grealish going to City, it's kind of hindered his career because he hasn't been getting regular game time. He's been at Villa. He was the main man. He was given a free rein, and I think at Everton he probably get that. He probably will get that. So he's gone there with a point to prove and all. He want to get back in the England squad for the World Cup. So I do think it's a cracking signing for them. I mean, I would have loved to have been even linked with him.
Yeah, no, I think a little bit like he had at Villa, he'll probably go to, Everton. He'll be main guy, won't he? Right. Like I say, rather than going to City, where a lot of players do that, don't they? They go to City as the best player in the biggest fish in a smaller pond. They go there and sort with Calvin Phillips. So Jack Rodwell. Remember him? Ooh, don't swear at me.
What point?
But no, Mitrovic. Have you been linked with Mitrovic anymore, mate? I've seen that.
It's all gone quiet since last week again. Since we spoke last week, that's all gone quiet.
Oh, thank God, mate! I'd have been putting you in top 6 if you'd have bloody time Mitrovic. He's the one I'd really like. I'd really like him because he'll come in and instantly he'll just adapt straight to Premier League. And we make a lot of signings as you do. Everyone makes a point, don't they, of maybe a great sell-on value further down the line on this player. What will he be like in 3-4 years? I think when you're newly promoted sides, that's great. It's all well and good. That's how you make your side sustainable. We've seen Brighton do it in Brentford, and that sell-on value with key players. But I think sometimes you need a few that are here and now and ready-made. And you've got Xhaka, Mitrovic for any newly promoted side. Probably would be the difference in staying up. I mean, if Burnley signed him, I'm not saying they stay up, but what a difference that would. Immediately be like, oh, you sit up and take notice of that one.
Definitely.
So I know we got linked with him same day as you, I think, and it was like Leeds and Sunderland both looking at him, and it's gone quiet again. But I reckon that's one that'll rise its head again, me, because I don't think he's going to stay in Saudi till the end of his career. He's still 30, got a fair few years left in him. He's not exactly a mobile, quick forward, so he's probably not going to have lost much as he's got older. He's probably got more mature, which the worst part about Mitrovic's game was his immaturity, really. So. I'm hoping that one raises its head again for us, but I haven't seen anything on that, unfortunately.
I think it's down to styles and all, Matty. I mean, whose style would suit them best? I mean, we've got two wingers, crosses in the box. He's good in the air, so he would probably suit. Same with you. You've got James on the right hand side, and good wingers putting balls in the box is what he thrives on. So, like you see, I think there'll be a lot of twists and turns up until the transfer window closes. There'll be a lot of loans getting done. Some of these big players. They'll be moving around, and there'll be some loans come available. So I do think there'll be a lot of twists and turns before. But I think we've probably done the majority of our business now, if I'm honest.
You think?
I think so. I mean, like I say, I'd like to see a right back, probably another winger to come in. But I don't know. We might have done our money.
How many have you brought in? How many? Like what figure? 8, 10?
About 10-ish, 150 million, 10, 11 signings.
So, I mean, there can't be much left, surely. Not
I would have thought so. I mean, that's a lot of money. 150 million quid's a lot of money for a newly promoted side. It's unreal.
Imagine if that story earlier yesterday, that Openda were right. Imagine if you just lumped 50, 60 million in, then you still had a couple more again. Like over 200 million. It's ridiculous, mate. Wait, do you think there's any Sunderland players you put a relegation clause in? I think a lot of them will have relegation clauses, but
I think Xhaka might have one in, like, to be honest. I didn't know. There probably will be. Some of these players will not want to play in the Championship, so there might be that's like we said before. That might have been a reason why you didn't sign it, because you wouldn't put that clause in. Maybe we have. I didn't know. I mean, you'll never get to know what's in a contract, will you? But
no, you won't. Do you feel like? Obviously, there's a massive buzz around your place at the minute, and rightly so. But do you feel like you've gambled heavily? And don't get me wrong, you're you could potentially finish way clear at relegation zone. Who knows? You give it a good fist. If these players click and they're as good as what their price tag suggests, then you've nailed it. But do you think, is there a bit of a worry in the back of your mind saying, imagine if it didn't go right and we did go down financially, the problem? Because then you've got players who you've, say, paid 30 million for, and you're probably going to have to sell them for cheaper, the whole PSR. Is that surely is a massive problem if you were to go down?
Massive, I mean, that's a risk. It's a risk I think you have to take in the Prem. You know, if you want to have any chance of staying up, you know, if you try and play it safe and you're guaranteed to come back down, so to make a fist of it, you've got to kind of speculate to accumulate, haven't you? It is a risk. I mean, you just got to trust that the recruitment team have done the due diligence on these signings, and they've been tracking them for quite a while. And now we kind of had 2 transfer lists drawn up, one for if we stayed down and one for if we came up. So these players must have been on our radar for quite a while. So you trust have been watching them for a number of weeks and months. Right, I mean, it's always a risk when you spend that sort of money. It's always a risk, isn't it? It's always going to be there. Like you're saying, if you get off to a bad start, then alarm bells do start to ring. But time will tell me. Time will tell.
Do you think if you hadn't gone sort of like balls deep in this window, you'd have been straight coming back down, smack bottom at league, like we said, Burnley, if you'd have kept
100%.
Anywhere near, if you'd just brought in a couple, you think you'd be smack bottom? Yeah.
The team that way, I was nowhere near good enough. Nowhere, I mean, to finish, 20 odd points behind the top 2, nowhere near good enough. Nowhere near.
I mean, how many players? Obviously, it'll be different for first game of the season, but your full strongest 11 now. How many of the players from last season start in that 11?
Probably Trey Hume and Dan Ballard.
So 2 out, so 9 brand new starters.
9 brand new starters,
It's mad, isn't it?
Mayenda will be the other one.
Yeah, potentially, unless that lad from Chelsea is a starter. But yeah, it's mad because there's that loyalty to players that got you up, and I've obviously got a touch of sentiment FC here, which I never thought I had, but I must have, because like I'm singing for rooftops. I'll let Pinot give, he deserves a chance, and I do think there's something in that, like when you're a striker that's been bagging goals in Championship maybe for 2-3 years. I keep referencing Marcus Stewart for Ipswich about 100 years ago. I don't know why, but you can have these players. Yeah, well, but you can have these players come up, can't you? And they can do it in Prem. And I'm a little bit sentiment FC, which I've always denied being, but I do like to see some players giving a crack. But I also agree. I mean, looking at your squad, you were massively behind Leeds in terms of quality anyway, as the 24 points suggests. So I think there's probably something in that we can probably allow for maybe a lot more than 2 or 3 to start for Leeds, which you are probably still looking at, Bogle, Rodon, Ampadu, Pirro, James. We've probably got 5, 6, maybe 7 starters from last year, which some Leeds fans will say is too many. Mm-hmm. And I don't think the club would be doing that from a sentiment standpoint. It's definitely, based on merit and them being good enough in their eyes. But seeing you have 9 potential, first teamers, be new players. The preseason hasn't gone too well with getting them to gel, but if you're going to lose games, that's the time to lose them. But there has to be a little bit of that as well. They've got to hit the ground running. That's a lot of people to put onto a pitch and go win games.
That is
too many.
I think that's probably why we've probably struggled in pre-season, because these players have never played together before. So that's probably a big factor of why we've struggled. But I'm hoping it all comes together at the weekend. We haven't even spoke tonight about Chris Rigg, and just shows you where we've come through in the summer, that Chris Rigg's not even getting a mention. Dan Neil has come out today and said he wants to fight for his place, which is fair dues. But again, I'm not convinced he's good enough. But these young lads, just because they're local, you feel like you should give them a chance. But like I said before, your head's got to rule your heart sometimes. And I think the good thing about our manager, he's been ruthless, and I think he's identified areas where he knew would struggle, and we've gone and addressed that. And the other players, the likes of Daniel and Chris Rigg, they're there to try and fight for the place and bring them on and develop them on. And fair play to them for not spitting a dummy out and wanting to leave, because Chris Rigg's 17, 18, Daniel's still young, 22, 23, so still a lot of development for them to do yet. And this season, the Prem, even coming off the bench, might bring them on a hell of a lot.
Yeah, and with them as well, they're not obviously Prem proven. There's a big question mark against, them too. Chris Rigg being so young, although he's such a talent. Decent options off the bench. I'm looking as an opposition fan, and like you say, who knows how they'll be, but I liked them both in Championship. they're not starters no more. Like we're potentially gambling on one or two. Ampadu, people will say it's not good enough. Where I disagree. Some say it good enough. That's maybe the equivalent of you keeping Dan Neil. In middle of your midfield, but you've upgraded in nearly all key areas. Like I say, there's obviously a question mark against whether they can all gel and get them points early on, but time will tell. I'm sort of, it's hard to be anything but sort of positive when I look at Sunderland, even with a sort of transfer battle, because you've just got to give you props in terms of massive fan base, massive pressure. You weren't too keen on certain elements last season, towards the back end. I think we even had conversations thinking at one point, you weren't too sure what the owners were doing. Yeah. Were they there just to sort of bleed the money at the club? Total opposite. They've totally, 360'd from where you thought they were going with their vision. Wayne, you didn't envisage this, did you? A couple of months later.
I've, like you say, that they've made me eat humble pie in big style.
Yeah.
I never ever thought for 1 second, even when we got promoted, we'd be spending anywhere near this sort of money. So, but it's nice that they have proved us wrong, and I'll admit I was wrong, But I still don't think they're above criticism. At times last season, they deserve to be criticised. In January when we didn't get a striker, if we had gotten the striker, we might have gone up automatically. There's them type of things where they're not going to get everything right. So I think, like me, I always just speak as I find, and if I think they need criticising, I will criticise them, no matter how much they've spent or whatever. If they do something wrong, then I'll see it. Not everybody likes that.
No, they don't.
Some people just look at things through red and white eyes and don't like you criticising the club, but you just got to be level-headed. You just got to be realistic and and realise we might lose our first 5 games. See where the fan base is then.
Oh, mate, it'll be a meltdown. I don't think it matters what you say, mate. Herbert fucking loves your accent, mate.
Yes, Herbert.
Could listen to you do anything, mate, I think. Don't matter what you're doing or what you're wearing. Herbert he's always got time for you, Wayne, by the sound of it.
Nice one. Thank you.
Stephen says all 3 promoted teams stay up.
Ooh, that's a brave call.
I've never seen anybody say Burnley staying up in the history of the Premier League. Never. Yeah, that's a Madden. I think 2 do, but yeah, not 1. Let me just get into this comment here 1 sec. Yeah, Brookie has the one at the weekend. This one, would you take DCL on a free win from Righteous One?
Not at all. I did a video yesterday with these links that were being linked with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Jamie Vardy. For me, Calvert-Lewin, looked at his stats last night. I think he's got 50 goals in 200 and odd games or something for Everton, but he only averages 25 games a season. For me, that's just not good enough. Play 1 game, injured for 10. For me, you cannot rely on that. I mean, and he's only 28. He might be over the injury problems, but I think if that was the case, Everton wouldn't have chased him. So I think Everton wouldn't have gotten rid of the thought he could do it, considering they needed strikers. So no, not for me. I wouldn't touch him with a barge pole, if I'm honest.
Say without the injury worries, he probably wouldn't even be in the conversation to go with newly promoted side. I mean, Arsenal were rumoured to want him before the injury, but so as a player, taking the injuries aside is a great option, but gambling on someone like that, it's too much, I think, for a club like us. His wages would still be high, I assume, even though he's a free. Same with, it falls into the Callum Wilson bracket, doesn't it? Yeah. Cracking player, injuries have sort of hampered him. He's still young enough where Callum Wilson's obviously about 33, I think. But it's just too much of a gamble. I think with Leeds as well, we've had Bamford for 15 years, it feels like, with his injuries. We've then told him his surplus, so who knows what will happen there. Maybe he'll come back into a fold, but I assume he's going. We then signed a Metcher, who looks brilliant for us in pre-season, but had an injury hit season last year, so that's why he was a free. So we've gambled on him. So I think as a club, I don't think we'd gamble on him, even though we're rumoured. But again, it's just, who needs a striker? Yeah, them two, rumour, agent talk, just lazy links. He's going to be linked to anyone who needs a striker. Currently, is Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
I think the striker situation is potentially what will keep you in the league. In pre-season, we've played a lot of great football. Even though we haven't been winning games, we've
put it in win.
We've played a lot of pre-season games, played a lot of good football until we've gotten to the edge of the area, and that's where we've been lacking. And that's ultimately what will get you relegated. You have to put the ball in the back of the net, and if you didn't, then you've got no chance. So,
what about that lad? Would you have him?
At this moment in time, I've said all pre-season that I wouldn't have him. At this moment in time, I would take him as a off the bench, experience to help these young strikers. But
did you see the picture of
yes,
him at your training ground? I think he had your logo on the back.
That's where we've been training. But I think where they were just hadn't took the boards down when he was out there training. I think it was just all.
Oh, they'll tell you all, mate. They'll tell you all. You're signing Vardy in the morning. Ding dong. To be fair, mate, I've said a few times this off-season, I'd have had him. The longer it goes on, problem for Leeds, you see, we don't, as a fan base, we aren't looking for a backup striker. People will tell you we've got two of them, which I disagree. But we want that big, that big name striker, which probably, if you're going to go get one, that's what you're sort of looking at. You've got decent backup. You probably would like a big sign. So it doesn't really fall. None of them fall into that category. If we hadn't brought in a Metcha and we still only had Pino, really, we'd look at it and go, we probably need another body in there, which maybe you take that gamble. But not for us. John Nesbitt, Matty would like your opinion on your manager. Is he one of yours?
One of mine, yeah.
Is he good enough for the Prem, mate? I'm not so sure about him. I may be wrong, and I hope I am. Well, thanks for hoping you're wrong. It's one of them. It's one of them, John. Unproven in Prem in terms of staying up. He's gone down twice with Norwich. No money spent. Not really adapted any sort of tactics or his own game plan in his career, really, up to press. Whenever something's sort of going wrong and you can see it staring in your face as a fan, change it up, change formation, use your bench more. He hasn't done it at Leeds for 2 seasons. It hasn't really mattered. We've been good enough to have 2 good seasons. This pre-season, we've seen more like adaptability from Farker than we probably ever have. I hope it's not just a case of it's pre-season, let's give it a go, because he tweaked with it a little bit last pre-season with a 4-3-3 and then never used it at all in the Championship at 4-2-3-1. I think the fact that we had probably the best side in the Championship meant he didn't have to really worry too much about the back, going the other way, so he could play with a bit more freedom. But what I've seen, you've got to think as well, Wayne, we've played scum, so we played Manchester United, Villarreal, and obviously AC Milan. And AC Milan played a strong side, really, really good sides, decent caliber sides. It's really testing yourself there. 2 easy games in Germany to go fill your boots, lads, which we won them too. So I think we've got the preparation right, and the fact that he's changing stuff, not just pre-game, but in the game. We've seen him go from a 4-3-3 to a 4-2-3-1 and try different techniques and different combinations in there. I don't quite know if he knows his first 11 yet, which probably isn't a bad thing. It means in certain areas we've got an abundance of quality, which I will say midfield 5 into 3 don't go. Do the math. He's going to have to get that somehow, but that's great depth for us. But I would say, to answer your question, because I'm a waffler, John, is I believe he'll get it right this time, because he's never had the backing, the money, or the players at this level to do it. So, I mean, what do you think of Farker when in your?
I was just about to flip that on its head. So, do you think out of us using Burnley, bearing in mind our manager just signed a new contract, so he's just signed a new 3-year deal.
Yep.
Scott Parker will probably be under a little bit less pressure because they're probably expected to come back down. Do you think if you get off to a bad start, do you think your fan base, based on there's a few of the fan base wanted him out in the last season?
Yep.
Do you think that they would call for his head early doors if you get off to a bad start?
Yeah, Farker's got more pressure, I think, than both managers. And like I say, I always scale your club right alongside Leeds to a degree, without going into nuts and crannies or who's won what or whatever. Just when I look at the scalability of a club, I look at yours and it's massive. And I know, you want to win and your fan base will cry that too. But I think you were in League One not too long ago. Yeah. You've had immediate a quick rise. You wouldn't have expected Premier League football 6 months ago. I know for a fact you didn't. So I do think there's a little bit more leeway in Labrie. Technically he's brought you success probably a year quicker than what you would have thought.
Yeah.
Farker's got so much pressure on him, mate. The Leeds fans. For me, we are the best in the world, but we need it to be a fortress at Ellen Road, but it can turn Ellen Road. It can be on a knife edge and it can turn. We go 1-0 down. It can be a very, very hard place to demand the football in a tight area, and want to progress the ball and be brave. It can be difficult because it can get hostile. And, we are, like I say, we'll support them every kick of the way. But I just know if it starts bad, fans will be giving them. Honestly, I've heard some people
Right.
say 3-4 games, and if it's not working,
Kind of saying
it's
that
not. It's not enough. It's not enough time, mate. You know, we're building okay in pre-season. We've got a really tough start. Which we'll go into now. Mate. I'm going to pull them up actually, and we'll have a little look at.
I mean, for me, you've got to give them half a season, Matty. You've got to give them, the first half of the season, see where they are. I mean, Regis Lebris was linked or was approached by another Premier League team in the summer.
Right.
Now, reading between the lines, I'm guessing that was Brentford, just based on who was moving. So he had the chance for it to get to Brentford.
Yeah, and he stayed. Better club, mate. Better club. But yeah, these are our fixtures. So it is a tough start for me. You know, at home to Everton on Monday night, can't wait for that. Away to Arsenal, at home to Newcastle, away to Fulham. You know, and then don't get me wrong, Wolves and Bournemouth don't particularly frighten, but those first 4, very difficult. Let's say Fulham, decent side, decent manager, I rate them. If that's at home, I'm probably looking at thinking we can do them because it's away. Always difficult. We never really do well at Cottage. So I'm looking at those 4 fixtures and it's a tough start for us, Wayne.
Well, I think, Leeds, I think Everton at home is probably a decent start for you, Yeah, I think, be rocking their first game, so there's chances of taking points there. Arsenal, difficult game, we know that. That's one of your, I don't like saying free hits because, every game's crucial, but them's the one where you go there without any pressure on you. You expect to get beat.
Of course.
The Mags game, that's the one I hope you do win, obviously. But that's, for me, it's a really, really good time to play them. They're in disarray at the minute. The fans are up in arms. They've got so much going on. They could be losing more players. They're not really signing anybody. Fulham, Fulham are a kind of a side that you never know what Fulham's going to turn up. They're a decent season last season, got a good manager. But if they're losing the likes of Muniz and all them, what were they going to be like? I mean, I haven't really looked at them and haven't seen who they've signed or what they've signed. And the last two fixtures there, I mean, they are teams where you've tipped to be at the bottom. So, you could easily pick up 7-8 points out of that lot.
My word, mate. You've made me feel really happy about that now. After looking at it, I think it's a really tough start. I think Everton is a great start for us. I do think they'll be a better Everton than they have been for a long time this season. I think some managers just work for you, don't they, and Moyes as well. And I just think they'll be a better side this year. But the fact it's at home again, I don't see us losing that. I'll be backing us to win 2-0, 3-0 because I just can't do what else at home, mate. But honestly, it's so hard to call. You just don't know. I mean, just looking at sort of on paper, a lot of fans would say same Arsenal and Newcastle. You may get no from them. So it's the pressure of that Monday night. What is huge, mate. Like if we were to lose to Everton, worst case, then you're going away to Arsenal and home to Newcastle, and all of a sudden it takes a totally different flip.
Yeah,
beat Everton, and all of a sudden, as you've just gone through them fixtures there, it seemed a lot more positive and a lot more doable. But that first game for us, as nice as it looks on paper, the pressure on that's huge. Because like you say, the Arsenal one is just we go across over there and we lose by a couple of goals.
No, it's
expected. But that Everton one, it's just huge. And I kind of think the fixtures are falling nicely for us there for a change. The fact it's been moved to a Monday night, 8 o'clock at Ellen Road, under the lights. My favourite time to go, exactly. It will be on fire. The roof will be coming off at Ellen Road, and hopefully the lads can match that because the new lads, I know, they played in some good places. Longstaff played at St James's Park, obviously, even though you would like talking about them. It's a great stadium, great fan base. But in terms of the new players, they're going to experience something they probably haven't experienced a lot of because it's going to be absolutely rocking. And that's something that we talk about quality and, the kind of players you're bringing in of that, what's needed quality-wise. You also got to look at them as a person and how they can adapt to situations. Can they adapt to playing in this country? You hope that's a big tick and it's a yes. But then, right, in front of our own fans in a rocking Ellen Road, a rocking stadium, like, how are you going to stand up to that? So I'm hoping we've got the right characters as well.
It's the first goal, Matty. The first goal, like in any game, is crucial. But I think the first game of the season at home, if you get the first goal, then it's rocking even more. You know what I mean? And that's what you're looking at.
Yeah. Who's this Bushby, mate? Yeah, he's just not a fan of Sunderland, mate. He just don't. I thought he just don't like you guys. He just don't.
I kind of got that impression.
Big time. Dara, love Matty. Great show. Keep it going. Cheers, Dara, mate. I hope you're well. I hope everyone's good. Hope family's good. But even if we don't get the best results at the start, I hope the 49ers don't buckle under fan pressure. Yeah, I don't think they will. It's a difficult start for me, but I can see us getting through it okay. Let me have a look at yours then, mate, because yours look really favourable. This is now where you spin it in a negative and go, oh no, that's a tough game. I'm not too sure on that. And you spin it round, but I am going to buy it, mate. It's a really, really good start for you. Let me share this screen one sec. Some fixtures. There we go. Are they up? Yeah, they are. Sound. How do you feel about them, mate? West Ham at home, really good fixture opening day.
I think it's a crack one to start off with. Like I say, they'll be rocking 47,000 to be there the weekend. They're struggling, but they've still got some good players. Like I say, they've still got Jared Bourne and Light, but you've got to beat the teams around you in this league, and I think they're going to be down and round about us. I don't think Graham Potter's done that much of a good job with them. Like I said, they're going to lose Paquetá, they've lost Antonio, they've lost Kudos, so I think it's a cracking opener. And then if you do win that game, you're then going to Burnley the week after, expecting to win. I don't know, you at least not get beat there.
Yeah.
And then again, Brentford, another one that we've tipped again down. Potentially, you could have 9 points out of 9. And what is, that's stuff that dreams are made of. But none of us, we'll do a Sunderland. We'll get beat off West Ham and Brentford, and we'll go and beat Burnley away. That's just what we do.
Yeah.
But I mean, couldn't have wished for 3 better games to start the season with. I mean, Palace going to be a difficult game.
Yeah,
they're a good side. Villa, difficult game. They're a good side. And Forest, again there, that's a hard place to go to. They're a good fan base. They have the place rocking. Done really well the last couple of years. So I think them first 3 games for us is going to be crucial. If we can get maybe 4 or 5 points out of them 2 games, then it's a good start.
I agree, mate. I mean, when you look at obviously the six games there, some decent sides there on recent sort of form. Obviously, there's no like notoriously big hitters there from historic big hitters. Your City, your Arsenal, etc. and people like that. But when you look at them, Forest away, difficult game now. Villa at home, solid game. They are one of the big hitters now out there currently. So I do think the fact that you've got West Ham and Brentford at home in your first 2, and your away games Burnley. 2 of them we've tipped to go down. Some tip West Ham to go down or struggle. You've got 3 relegation rivals in your first 3 games. However you want to look at it, and it's a great opportunity to like I say, we talk about pressure. If you were to come out of them 3 games with 1 point immediately, you're probably feeling a little bit of pressure because they're games where you look at thinking you need those points, but it's a long season. But this is where I've sort of looked at pre-season, and I keep banging that drum about I do feel like the results matter to a degree. That bouncing it, you think if you've gone unbeaten and you're bouncing into West Ham at home, those first 3 fixtures, you're sort of licking your lips. People don't always take credence to what happens in pre-season, but obviously I do. So I look at Everton unbeaten, thinking we've just been, just drew against Villarreal and AC Milan. Of course, we can play at Ellen Road and not lose to Everton. That's how I sort of gauge it now, because we're on a decent little run. 5 games unbeaten. Can we make it 6? And I know they haven't meant anything, but that's how I sort of gauge it now. So you do need to start well. You do. And I know it's a long season, but you do have to start well, mate.
You have to get into that first international break with points on the board, because if you didn't, and let's not forget we haven't touched on, for us, we've got the African Cup of Nations. If we're struggling come December time, that's going to play a factor. Now, I know some fans didn't believe in that. I think I'm talking a load of shite, but end of the day, we potentially could be losing 6-7 players to that, and that out of our squad with the squad depth that we have is massive.
No, it's like I say, I haven't wanted to use the AFCON word, mate. To be honest, I know a lot of your fans have hated that chat, but it's there and it's a fact. You are going to lose, maybe half of your starting lineup potentially to AFCON, and whether it's all month or a few weeks, it's all right if you've got a buffer. If you haven't got a buffer, it's a massive problem. So it's a bit of a gamble on your end, but yeah, there's a lot more games they will play in, and if they can win points in them, you'll be all right. So it's time will tell.
Certainly
will. Quick look at last few comments before we wrap it up. Will Sunderland win the first game? Yeah, I don't know. I can see you drawing at West Ham. I can see you drawing. Mark Jones, I definitely have that Ori lad, Matty. Mate, looks a decent player. Yeah, we've been linked with an Icelandic. Well, we haven't been linked actually with.
Oh, the New Holland. Is that one?
Yeah, the decent little thumbnail, that one. It did really well, that one. But no, I'm not really into transfer stuff, as you know, and I hate people that do clickbait stuff. But I actually got a little bit of inside information from like a sports journalist who's really well known. Everyone knows his name, you know, if I want to speak to him, someone direct, like literally direct information. So I shared it and just kept it secret who it was, obviously, so I can sometimes get still little nuggets, but it hasn't been leaked yet. And then someone I know has messaged me tonight saying he's asked somebody who's Icelandic, an Icelandic journal, and there's definitely something in it. But it's one of them. There could be something in it, as in Leeds are speaking to him, and it never even materialised into anything. But I got quite excited when I heard it, so I thought I'll put it out there. And even now, 24 hours later, no one's reported it. So it's either no one's reported it and come out because it's not coming out when I look at it, or it comes out in a day or two and I want first to mention it. Yeah, exactly. So quite funny. But yeah, he looks a really good player. But again, he isn't going to be one of those £40 million players who's going to hit the ground running now. He'd be one of those potential long-term sort of signings who could do business now, but you're gambling on a little bit. But I kind of feel like that's how Leeds are going to go. You know, I kind of feel that's how Leeds are going to go. I've got a feeling they're going to. They're not going to splash £40 million on a winger. They're not going to splash £40 million on a striker. That's how I sort of see it. But we'll have to see how it goes. But yeah. Score prediction then for West Ham. Let's see what you think. West Ham game. What are you going?
West Ham for me, I think we're going to have to win and start, and I'm going to go for 2-0.
2-0. Right. Leeds game. Leeds Everton. What are you going?
Oh, I think the place will be rocking. I'm going to go for years to same score. No, 2-1. 2-1 to use.
Good stuff. You were home at West Ham. I'm gonna go 2-1 you. I think you pick it just because of that. I can just see it being bounced, like I say. I think they score. I can see Bowen score. I think 2-1 to you. I think we win 2-0.
We should write these down and do a thing with the thing.
We will do. We'll make a note. It's there for all to see. We'll make a note, mate. We'll see who gets closest at the end of the year. But yeah, nice one. I've loved it. Can't wait to do more of these with you, and we will touch base, Wayne, on next Tuesday to see how the results have gone.
Sick, or we're all both happy, or we're both sick, or one's happy and one's not.
Mate, if we win on Monday night, I'll still be on a natural high 24 hours later, mate. I'll be high as a kite. So, yeah, no, great stuff. But please stick a like on the video on the way out. The 114 watching, only 70 likes. Not only, but 70 likes. Thank you so much for the likes. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and make sure you go check Wayne out, the new Finalysis guy. If you want any Sunderland gear, any out Sunderland wise, go check Wayne out. His content's brilliant. Top guy. Thanks so much as always, mate. And everyone take care, and I'll be back soon. Bye-bye.
See you later.